Welcome to the 3134 Blueprint, a podcast created by students for students. Each semester, our class works together to bring you unique conversations on topics that matter, from mental health to motivation, personal growth, and the unexpected lessons we learn along the way. Each episode is led by a different group, diving into themes through their own lenses, sharing real stories, insights, and perspectives from the heart. Now let's dive into today's episode, brought to you by Dream Team, as they explore the topic of social media's effect on well-being, both positive and negative.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Dream Team podcast. I'm Cassie.
And I'm Sam, and today we really want to dive into the topics of social media's effects on well-being, both positive and negative aspects. For example, comparing yourself to what you see on social media could create feelings of jealousy.
Or the opposite, like seeing someone else struggling and thinking like, oh, at least I'm doing better than them.
Exactly, and that's what we're talking about today. The upward and downward comparisons that social media can trigger. These comparisons can really affect how we see ourselves, our self-worth, and even our mental health. So let's talk about it.
Before getting into the nitty-gritty of it, let's first talk about why we do this in the first place. You may have heard of the social comparison theory, introduced by psychologist Leon Festinger. The basic idea is that naturally we compare ourselves to others in order to assess our abilities, opinions, and our self-worth. And I do it all the time in sports, and at least coming into college, that's probably the first thing you do.
And social media has made these comparisons way more frequent. It's constantly in our face. It's like seeing highlight reels of other people's lives. It can feel like we're constantly measuring ourselves up against others, but it's not always a bad thing.
Exactly. It's completely normal to compare yourself to others from time to time. It can actually even be helpful in some ways. It can motivate us to do better, be better, or even set goals for ourselves. But when it becomes too much, that's when it can get a little tricky.
Let's start with the positive comparisons. This is when you look at someone's life and think that they're doing better than you. Maybe it's that influencer who always seems to be traveling around the world, or that friend that just seems to have that perfect career.
Yeah, it's sort of like a highlight reel in a sense. You see their glamorous vacation photos and start wondering, why don't I have that life? It's so easy to fall into the trap of comparing our real lives to other people's best moments, which they're always sharing online. That's where the start of the problem is.
Yeah, because it's not even an apples-to-apples comparison. We're comparing our entire lives, the messy parts, the struggles, the everyday stuff, to someone's highlight reel, what they decide to post on Instagram or any social media, and that can make us feel like we're falling short.
Research actually shows that upward comparisons can negatively impact our self-esteem, which that means you can even start to feel anxious. I mean, after seeing someone's perfectly curated Instagram post, it's hard not to feel like you're not measuring up.
But here's the twist. Upward comparison isn't always that bad. Sometimes it can motivate you to work harder, to achieve your own goals. If you see someone living the life you want, it can inspire you to chase your dreams. The key is finding a balance and not letting those comparisons drag you down.
That's exactly right. Curating your feed with maybe accounts that you feel good about yourself, not just the ones that make you feel like you always need to do better. That can get exhausting. It's a first good step. And of course, celebrating your own progress, no matter how small it is very important.
All right, and now let's switch gears and talk about the other side, the downward comparison. This happens when you compare yourself to others who seem to be in a worse situation than you. Maybe it's someone struggling financially, or someone who's having a rough time with their health.
It can feel comforting in a way, right? Like, at least I'm not in that bad of a place. It can kind of give us a little self-esteem boost. And we might feel a sense of relief that we're not facing those challenges every day. But just like upward comparison, downward comparison can definitely have its own set of problems.
That's exactly right. While it might feel good in the moment, it can lead to feelings of superiority or even apathy. You start thinking, well, at least I have it better than so-and-so, and you could lose sight of how lucky you actually are. Or worse, you could stop showing empathy or support to others who are struggling.
Yeah, and if you're always comparing yourself to people who are worse off, you're not focusing on your personal growth at all. It's like, instead of striving to be the best version of yourself, you're just comparing yourself to the lowest bar, and that's not mentally a healthy mindset.
Totally. The key here is to use downward comparison with caution. It can be a reminder to be grateful for what you have, but not as a way to put others down or make you feel superior.
So how do we find the right balance, right? How do we manage these comparisons in a way that benefits us instead of harming us?
It's a great question. It's all about being aware of how these comparisons affect us and taking control of our social media habits. If you find yourself constantly comparing yourself to others, maybe it's time to unfollow some accounts or even take a break from social media altogether for a while.
Yeah, and make sure you're following people who promote authenticity. Accounts that show the ups and downs and not just the picture-perfect moments. Real life is messy, and we all know that. And it's important to see that on social media as well. It helps remind us that we're all human and everyone has their struggles.
And it's also really important to focus on your own journey, set personal goals, acknowledge your progress, and reminders that it's okay to take a step back and take things one at a time. Take control, set boundaries, and remember to celebrate what makes you unique.
Exactly. Social media should inspire you, not always make you feel bad about yourself. So take control, set boundaries, and remember to celebrate what makes you unique.
Now let's talk about something that's become an even bigger concern, how social media can take away from our happiness and even our time spent with others. I mean, we've all been there, right? You've been hanging out with your friends, but you can't help checking your phone every few minutes. Or maybe you're at dinner with your family, but everyone's scrolling through their feeds instead of actually talking to each other.
I've been in situations where I'm out with friends and everyone is glued to their phones. No one is actually present. It can feel kind of lonely, even when you're surrounded by people you love. You're supposed to be enjoying the moment, but if you're distracted by what everyone else is doing online, then you're not actually where your feet are.
Yeah, and the worst part is, though we're physically with people, social media can make us feel more disconnected. You might see posts from other people hanging out, having fun, and suddenly you start to feel like you're missing out, or that the people around you aren't as interesting as the people that you see online.
And that's the funny thing, because the whole point of social media is you're supposed to feel a connection, right? But it often has the opposite effect. It can actually lead to this sense of isolation. The more time we spend on our phones, the less time we're engaging in real-life interactions and conversations with people who are physically present in front of us.
And then there's this whole thing where we're constantly looking for external validation. We post a photo and we're waiting for the likes, the comments, the shares. Validation that in that moment seems so important, but after that quick little rush of dopamine fades, you realize that it doesn't fill the void. It's a quick fix for happiness.
Yeah, and it's like we're constantly chasing that next like or comment rather than being fully present with the people around us. And when we're seeking validation online, it can be hard to focus on the meaningful face-to-face interactions we have in our real life. Over time, this can actually lead to feeling less satisfied with our relationships and even cause feelings of loneliness despite of having tons of friends or followers on social media.
It really does come down to the balance. Social media has a place in connecting us with others, but it's really important to remember the quality of our relationships we build in real life is actually what truly matters. These moments with people who care about us without distraction of a screen are the ones that bring real joy and fulfillment.
And if you notice that social media is starting to take away from your happiness or spend time with others, it might be a sign to reassess how you use it. Maybe put the phone down for a little bit and really focus on connecting with people you're in the moment with.
Exactly. Social media doesn't need to dominate our lives, and it shouldn't take away from the happiness that comes from genuine in-person interactions. So set those boundaries for yourself, whether it's having social media-free moments during the day or turning notifications off while you're spending time with friends and family. So to wrap it up, both upward and downward comparisons are part of life, especially with social media being involved. But being aware of how these comparisons can affect us can help us use social media in healthier ways.
Right. It's all about balance. Everything's kind of all about balance. Finding motivation without letting envy take over and using downward comparisons to foster gratitude and empathy and not superiority. At the end of the day, we should all be working towards the best version of ourselves, not comparing ourselves to others all the time.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you find yourself comparing yourself to others on social media? How do you handle it? Let us know in our comments.
And don't forget to subscribe and share the episode with everyone who could use a little reminder to take care of themselves in the digital age. Until next time, take care of yourselves and be kind to your mind.